So, Aaron Rodgers staying in Green Bay, Russell Wilson staying in Seattle could actually help the 49ers? Let me explain. Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Shifty's 49ers Talk. It's your boy Shifty. This one goes out to Niner fans, near, far, NFL fans, sports fans. You are all welcome here. Today, we are talking about how the fact that Aaron Rodgers staying in Green Bay and Russell Wilson staying in Seattle could actually help the 49ers. And what I'm relating this to is going to be for the trading of Jimmy Garoppolo, which is very much inevitable. Ultimately, this is all going to come down to a simple case of supply and demand. Let's get into it. Alrighty, guys, so I do want to talk about the two big factors here with regards to this video and with regards to how this could benefit the 49ers. So it's no secret that Jimmy Garoppolo, there's a 99% chance that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be traded from the 49ers. Now, when I was talking about, we look at supply and demand, and when we're talking about the quarterback position. So if we look for the demand at the quarterback position, there are a number of teams who really do need a quarterback who can come in, who can play right away. Number one, the Denver Broncos. We know that they have a really solid team built around their around the quarterback, but they just don't have one. So you bring in a guy like Garoppolo, who is a proven winner. Say what you will about Jimmy G, the guy can win football games. So that could be someone who Denver looks to in a division that's a really tough division with the Chiefs, with the Chargers, who are looking pretty good. And let's not count out the Raiders, because the Raiders were a pretty solid team as well. So they need a guy who can maximize the talents of the players around them. Number two, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger retires. They also have a good team around the quarterback position. Number of good weapons in Pittsburgh, a great running back, a young prospect at running back. Also, that defense is really, really solid, so that's going to keep them in games. And Garoppolo is pretty solid in those close games, and he is, again, a winner. So someone that I think Mike Tomlin would really, really like to coach. And I think he'd be a huge fan favorite, too, in Pittsburgh. Other teams that are going to be probably in the quarterback market, you now have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Brady retiring. You have the Indianapolis Colts, should they cut Carson Wentz, and there are rumors or speculations of that happening. The Washington Commanders, they have Taylor Heineke, nothing else there. The New Orleans Saints, Taysom Hill, I don't think he's the answer. He's more of a gadget play kind of guy. Jameis Winston is most likely going to be cut from the Saints for salary cap reasons. Other teams that could be in the market too. We have the Houston Texans. What's going to happen with Deshaun Watson? We know he's a great player on the field, but it's the off-the-field issues that obviously would concern the Texans and also any team that could potentially trade for Deshaun Watson. Carolina Panthers. They have Sam Darnold. They have, I think it's PJ Walker. None of those guys are super inspiring, in my opinion at least. I don't think either of those guys will ever be a franchise quarterback, and we know Matt Rule is essentially going to be on the hot seat, so he maybe needs someone who can come in, win him some football games right now. They also have some very nice weapons in Carolina with Christian McCaffrey and Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. A couple of other teams to keep an eye on as well. We have the Detroit Lions. Are they sold on Jared Goff? They would be naive to be sold on Jared Goff as a long-term answer at quarterback. Then you have the Tennessee Titans, who I don't think would be looking to make a move for Garoppolo, but could potentially be in the quarterback market in terms of the draft. With Ryan Tannehill, he's mediocre at best, I would say. He's had a bit of a revival in his career in Tennessee, but I just don't think he's the guy to get it done there. So that's the demand. So there is a pretty heavy demand for quarterbacks. We're looking at maybe 8, potentially 8, 9 teams who need a quarterback. Seems like if Green Bay are to stick with Aaron Rodgers, and reports coming out are that they're going to go double down, triple down for this season, keep Rodgers, keep as many of their guys together, even though Green Bay are in a not so great salary cap situation, but they're going to 2022 is their year to make it happen. Seattle, I just don't see them moving on from Russell Wilson. He's been the face of that franchise for a good 10, 11 years now. And unless he absolutely refuses to play another snap in Seattle, I just don't see them getting rid of him. So I've changed my tune on that a little bit. We talked a little bit about Deshaun Watson. I don't think any team is going to give up anything major in terms of draft capital or in terms of assets for a guy like him, where we know, again, how good he is on the field. Off the field, there's a lot of issues, allegations against him, so I don't think teams are really going to take a chance on him unless he gets cleared of all of that. Beyond that, there really isn't much available at the quarterback position. When we look at free agency, we're going to be left very uninspired. You have journeyman guys. You have Teddy Bridgewater, Jacoby Brissett, Marcus Mariota, who of this list probably has the most potential to do something. Tyrod Taylor, who I like as Trey Lance's backup, to reunite with Anthony Lynn. Andy Dalton, at his age, just a backup. Then you have Jameis Winston, who maybe could intrigue a team. Could there be a reunion in Tampa Bay? Could he go somewhere else? Possibly. The draft also leaves a lot to be desired. Kenny Pickett. He's probably the number one prospect at quarterback in this draft, but there's no talk, at least yet, of any team being we have to trade up to the top 3 picks to get a guy like Kenny Pickett. He's a good prospect, but just not a great one. Nothing along the lines of a Trevor Lawrence or a Joe Burrow or an Andrew Luck. Malik Willis in the draft, to me, is quarterback number 2 so far. Potential through the roof, but he probably gets the Trey Lance, Jordan Love, and the Pat Mahomes treatment, where he's going to sit probably for a year or two, then you put him out there, and then you unleash his talents after you refine some of his game. Matt Corral, Desmond Ridder, Carson Strong, Sam Howell, all these quarterbacks are guys who are definitely going to need time to develop to play the NFL game, but as a prospects, they're very, they're solid prospects, probably your late first, second round guys who you maybe take a chance on, who most likely most of these guys in about 5 years' time will either just be backups or maybe even out of the league completely. So when it comes to the best available quarterbacks, I think, assuming the Colts do cut Carson Wentz, I think you could argue between Carson Wentz and Jimmy Garoppolo. With Carson Wentz, the benefit of him is if he's cut, you don't have to give up any draft capital. Plus, Carson is a little bit younger, so you could maybe argue there's some potential to be had there. But to me, assuming now Rodgers is going to stay in Green Bay because they're going to triple down to keep him, Russell Wilson, I just don't see him leaving Seattle now. Jimmy Garoppolo is probably the number 1 guy available, potentially this whole offseason. Now, I'd probably say Kenny Pickett, I'd probably say Malik Willis in terms of potential would be better guys to maybe go after if you're thinking long-term. But when you have teams like the Broncos, the Steelers, the Colts, who are all ready to win now, they don't maybe want to take a Malik Willis and wait, maybe in 2-3 years' time he'll be good. They want to win now, and that's what Jimmy Garoppolo brings to a team. So now you're going to have a lot of teams competing for Garoppolo, who is now arguably the best guy available. So that really does bump up his value because the supply of quarterbacks this offseason, compared to other years, but this offseason is so much lower. If we think back to last offseason, just in the draft, you had Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones. Those are 5 guys who would probably all go above any of the quarterbacks in this year's draft. So, it's actually really, really interesting to see what we maybe will get for Jimmy Garoppolo. In videos I made previously, I said maybe a 3rd-round pick. I think at this point, we could very well get a early 2nd-round pick, potentially even a 1st-round pick if we also include a draft pick in that. So maybe to the effect of we get the Bucs 1st-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo, and we send them one of our 3rd-round picks or something to that effect. I could see absolutely happening. Maybe something similar with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I believe they have pick 20, so maybe they say, we'll give you 49ers pick 20, you give us Garoppolo, and maybe you give us your 2nd or 3rd-round pick, ideally, obviously 3rd-round pick to give back to Pittsburgh in a situation like that. But yeah, it's crazy just how all of this has worked out, that Garoppolo is probably the number 1 guy available. So that obviously bumps up his value, and that really helps out the 49ers. And when we look at the fact that now, if Rodgers stays in Green Bay, and if Russell Wilson stays in Seattle and they're not going to be going anywhere, those would clearly be the top two guys available. But, obviously things have changed really quickly, and I think it is to the 49ers' benefit. So maybe a team does get desperate, and they're like, we need a quarterback, we got to win. They'll throw a crazy good offer for the 49ers, and we would be more than happy to take it, I would imagine. But I do want to hear your guys' thoughts on this whole situation, what you think will happen with Garoppolo, what you think we would get for him, what you think about moving forward, what the 49ers should maybe do with the assets they acquire for Jimmy Garoppolo. Also, where you think maybe some of these other quarterbacks will land, whether it's in the draft or free agency or potential trades you could see happening. But going to be wrapping up the video right now, guys. I do want to say a big thank you to all the subscribers. We're now up to 334 subscribers, and I really appreciate that. I basically see it all the time. I get a little notification when a subscriber comes through, and I don't thank you guys enough for being along for the ride, checking out the videos, commenting on the videos. It's a whole lot of fun. I'm going to have a whole bunch of content coming out this off season, and I'm for sure going to do what I can so I can live stream the draft, because it's going to be a lot of fun. Beyond that, guys, I'm going to say two things. The butt counts, and I'm going to catch y'all on the flip side.